Welcome to the Oregon Files podcast. First, our disclaimer. We are amateur podcasters simply for entertainment. If we misquote or offend, it was not on purpose to do so. Also, we're recording from an attic spare bedroom today, so you may hear kids, dogs, neighbors, what have you. Thank you, enjoy, and here's Ellie of Bowman.
Thank you, Mark. Fall has officially arrived in our neck of the woods. I think I've asked you this before. Did you have a favorite costume growing up for Halloween?
Yeah, Darkwing Duck. My mom made a homemade Darkwing Duck outfit. We took a duck bill from I don't know where, and then she super glued it onto like a purple mask. I didn't look like Darkwing Duck at all, but I had they got like a purple blazer that was from Goodwill, and we had a fedora, and I went as Darkwing Duck. But half the part of it, the only duck I had was the bill part. Like other than that, I was just a chubby kid walking around. I look really weird. No one knew who I was.
The theme song plays in my head the moment you say Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck's a great show.
Yes, throwback.
I love that. Also, we need to thank our friend Brian Prowitz for sitting down with us on our last episode. If you haven't gotten a chance to listen to that episode or any of our previous ones, please, for our sake and yours, give it a try. You won't be disappointed. A little more house cleaning. We have our wonderful sponsor in Two Shy Brewery. They brew for people who love beer. They have a wide variety of beers and ciders on tap. And for the youngsters, they have plenty pop or soda, whatever you call it. Rotating food truck. For more info, check out their Instagram or give them a call at area code 541-236-2055. Today we have a goodie. We got tales on some survival, some wilderness, fun facts, and plenty more we'll get to. So
yes, no, absolutely. Also, our other sponsor who's been with us from the start, Video Games Plus and Level Up Frozen Yogurt, open 7 days a week off Stevens in Roseburg, Oregon. Level Up Frozen Yogurt, new flavors every month, some dairy-free, over 50 toppings, including fresh fruit. And on the Video Games Plus side, guys, the holidays are coming up. They have all kinds of great gifts. You can get gift certificates there. Great staff, great people. And yeah, no, that Brian Prowitz interview was phenomenal.
Yes.
That was really cool. A lot of great feedback on that one.
Yeah. Didn't expect it to be so hitting home with a lot of the subjects. And just really appreciate Brian kind of pulling back the curtain on a lot of his experiences and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, very, very true.
Good talk with him.
Wait, did you have a favorite Halloween costume?
Oh,
I totally didn't even ask.
I don't think I did have a favorite Halloween costume growing up. I was not as creative as that. I think we just used to throw on like a mask and be like, here, I'm Eliav's a lion. Go get some candy type of thing. Or like the bed sheet, the bed sheet ghost. Yeah. Maybe I was like a vampire one year. I think that's probably the most creative with the fake blood and the teeth. There you go. But nothing as creative as a Darkwing Duck.
Oh, funny. So then when you trick-or-treated, did you go pillowcase or did you go bucket?
Pillowcase.
Oh, you got to go pillowcase.
Yeah, pillowcase.
It's logical.
Filled up more.
Yeah, filled up more. When you're a little kid, the bucket makes sense. Yeah. I guess because it's lighter and stuff. But no, once you get to a certain age, you got to go pillowcase for the haul, you know?
Did your mom check the candy before you ate it?
No, she didn't. No. But she would. I deep down, I do think she took the ones that she liked the most because, like, I don't know if it's something like
she sorted out
like the almond. Oh, you don't like almond joys, and she'll take those. And so later on, I was like, I don't know if I ever tried an almond joy until I was older. They always got confiscated. Right. Oh, you're allergic to coconut. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah. There's a razor blade in that one. You don't want to eat that one.
Yeah.
With that.
Okay, so we've talked about this a lot because we are in Oregon, beautiful wilderness country,
gorgeous Pacific Northwest.
Ugh.
Even with it being cold and raining, every other 4 days, it's still a great time to go out and go for hikes, for walks. There's just endless nature trails and lakes to see. And in the morning, just the fog. It's just picturesque living in Oregon. So
I love it.
Yeah, if you haven't been and you're listening, especially our listeners in France, if you're going to come to the United States, check out, Oregon, Washington, this area. It's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. So we want to cover the funny part though is we have a lot of Oregon. Yeah, we get some missing people. We get some people who go on nature hikes and that kind of stuff and just get lost. And so we're going to cover a couple of stories where people have gotten lost. And then we're going to give you some survival tips. Yeah. How to survive in the wild. So we'll start with the first article I have. It's actually a very recent one. This is thank you to News Channel 21, KTVZ.com. Pacific Crest Trail hiker fails to beat incoming storm, and he's rescued in the Diamond Peak Wilderness. So Pacific Crest Trail goes from Mexico to Canada. And if you're going to attempt this hike, I guess it's a, depending on how how much you can cover per day, what your body will let you do, but it could be up to a 9-month ordeal. Some people can get it 4 or 5 months if you're real faster. I don't know anyone personally who's completed it, but I heard it is grueling. And it covers all different types of terrain. You're going through mountain passes. You're going through desert down in Southern California. So it's all kinds of different cool stuff.
Different ecosystems.
Yeah. This is funny because I have a lot of nerd friends. There is a Lord of the Rings hike that's on the Pacific Crest Trail because it reenacts kind of the same terrain that was in the Lord of the Rings movies. Like you're going up to like the volcano of Mount Doom. And like you're going through like, where the giant spider, Mordor and that kind of stuff. So I guess it's like a 20-mile hike through, and it's they call it the Lord of the Rings hike. And
really?
I would love to do that someday.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
That'd be pretty fun.
But you have to dress up. That would be
so. Here's that's what makes it the Lord of the Ring hike. Is get this. The group that I talked to, everyone's taking a different role. So there's going to be a Gandalf. There's going to be the elves.
It's too much for
dwarf. I'm more interested in dressing up and doing it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Because
I'll just be a man of Rohan and just call it good.
There you go, Strider. Yeah, just be
Strider, right.
a ranger. That's hilarious. I would volunteer to definitely be a dwarf. That would hands down with a big old beard like that, walking around with a big old axe. I'd have so much fun.
Yeah,
I'd probably be done with it in 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Gimli,
yes. All right, so our guy here.
What did we just talk about?
I know. So Pacific Crest Trail hiker who tried but failed to beat an incoming rain and snowstorm was rescued by Douglas County Sheriff's Search and Rescue early Saturday in the Diamond Peak Wilderness on the Deschutes National Forest. Klamath County Sheriff's Search and Rescue asked Douglas County Search and Rescue to take on the mission around 10 p.m. Friday due to not having available resources. Now, I think the search and rescue is a volunteer basis thing. I think it's made by some local people who've had training.
I think so. I think they ask for volunteers, but there may be like actual group involved too, right?
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's training for it. I mean,
we're guessing here.
It's kind of cool. So the 57-year-old hiker he was from Weaverville, California, had called 911 to report he tried to beat the incoming weather front, but was unsuccessful and needed help. He said all of his clothes, sleeping bag, and camping supplies were soaked by the cold rain, and he was experiencing symptoms of hypothermia. I love the call came at, of course, 10 o'clock at night. Now, while they're en route, the rain turned to sleet, hail, and eventually snow with sub-freezing temperatures. Deputies said the snow was falling fast for a time, with 3/4 of an inch on the ground in 20 minutes. They couldn't find the hiker until 4:15 a.m. So the call came at 10. By yourself, yes. For that, from 10 o'clock until 4:15. So this was last Saturday. They found him and treated him moderate hypothermia, and they provided dry clothing and warmth.
The thoughts that go through your brain while you're being enclosed in by the natural elements. I panic, which just sure set in.
Oh yeah.
I can barely stand getting lost in a grocery store.
And they keep rearranging grocery stores. What's with that, right?
They get lost in the woods.
In fact, our local Fred Meyer right now.
I was just going to say that. Not happy about it. What should be a quick in and out, it becomes, you're right. I need a map. I have to, But if you worked
call family.
If you were in charge of a grocery store
remodel,
yeah, or even just like on a monthly basis, if you were the manager, I probably would just mess with the general public and just switch aisles around.
You got to. You got to keep people on their toes. So anyways, they got this guy down. They brought him to Roseburg where he met family. He did not need an ambulance or anything like that because they got to him fast enough. But shout out to Douglas County Search and Rescue.
Yeah.
Saving lives.
Thank you, sir.
First article, yeah.
All right.
We ran a couple different articles today, I think.
All right, yeah. I have a similar story. Last May, a gentleman by the name of Harry Burley, he went out on a fishing trip to Toketee Lake. And I don't know if you've ever been to Toketee, but it's another beautiful area out there.
It's up there, right? Isn't it like, 20 miles or so? What's that drive out there?
Yeah, it's kind of out towards Diamond Lake-ish. Yeah,
it's a little further, yeah.
Yeah, they have like Toketee Hot Springs, Toketee Lake. It's really, really nice area. His plan was to spend the night at the lake. He was going to go chase some German brown trout the following day and head back home to his house. Mother's Day was that coming Sunday, and his wife Stacy's birthday was the following Wednesday. He was going to fish from a kayak the following morning. He was 69 years old. Harry Burley was having a little luck. Caught a couple nice ones. He said he kissed them on the snout and let them go.
Aw.
As the wind kicked up, it became difficult to keep his kayak stationary, and in the early afternoon, he decided to paddle back to shore, loaded up the kayak on top of his vehicle, and began to make his way back down Highway 138 east of Roseburg. But it was still early in the afternoon. There was plenty of daylight, plenty of time to do a little more fishing. Mm-hmm. So he said he wasn't done with his adventuring. So he wanted to go to a place called Twin Lakes. I actually went there a couple of years ago, and there's a really cool viewpoint on top of where you kind of end up at hiking. You can see these lakes are kind of like parallel with each other, and like right down the middle is like a really kind of like thin forest.
How cool.
So you get this cool like vantage point of like these two really, really pretty lakes.
Oh, I love Oregon. That's awesome.
It's out Glide. So he said, I figured let's take that road and see where it leads. It was 10 miles up a pretty steep road, but I got to the trailhead. Approximately 4 p.m., he filled out a sign-in card and left it on the dash of his vehicle with a note that said, "Be back tonight."
Oh, boy. Oh, the foreshadowing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The trail was only 1.25 miles, and he thought, I can dash that. Burley, he was double layered with clothing, but just for a short hike and a few casts, he didn't feel like he needed to carry more than he needed. He didn't have a compass. He didn't have a map. He didn't have a beanie cap. He didn't even have a water bottle.
Oh, jeez.
It was only 1.25 miles after all, which was the total hike. His footwear consisted of only wool socks and a pair of leather hiking sandals, which was great for kayaking, I guess. So he says. He says, I did not need to pack my extra shirt. I was just going to make a couple of casts. And he was ready to go, he said.
No. Oh, no.
So this goes on to retell his account of it. Nearly 2 months after surviving a 17-day ordeal in the wilderness, he basically recounted the story of him being up there. The first night, he wasn't nervous at all. For the first couple of days, he was thinking he was going to come home, but that second night, he started to make phone calls. I was getting really nervous. Meanwhile, Harry Burley was getting further and further from his desired fishing hole. It was a brisk hike through deep, tall timber, and it smelled gorgeous.
Oh, I bet it did.
Harry Burley said Thursday, wearing a dark green T-shirt that read Deep Forest with a screen print of fish in a river. I crossed a little stream, went further, and ran into snow where the trail markers were. That would have been a good spot to say, this might be a good point to turn around.
No kidding. I think once you reach snow, yeah.
Right. I knew I was close to the lake, so I stayed on the trail, he said. But what he didn't realize, the trail to Twin Lakes took a hard left turn at the junction. His wrong turn soon found him in a fight for his life. Oh. The experienced outdoorsman, his hike that was meant to be an in and out turned into an ordeal he was not prepared for. He said, I dropped all my protocols that I would normally follow. I didn't implement the 7 Ps, which are proper, prior planning prevents piss poor performance. That's amazing.
So that's what you're trying to remember. Okay, so
I didn't implement the 7 Ps, which, this can go for anything in life here.
It's true.
Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. So you're in the corporate world, you're working at McDonald's, you're a car salesman, or you're lost in the woods. You got to have your implement the 7 Ps.
So for our listeners right now, we're going to get to some tips about how to survive in the wilderness. But the problem with this stuff is, I love, the 7 Ps are great, but when you're in this guy's situation, now you're lost.
Right.
It's laughable. It's not going to help you at that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Which goes on to here. The late afternoon daylight was turning into dusk. It was about 5:15 p.m. And Harry Burley was hit with the realization he was going to be spending the night in the woods.
Oh, boy. Harry.
He took a deep breath and asked himself, what's the mental imagery I had when I came in here? I had dashed and my mental imagery was distorted. I took a deep breath and told myself to stay calm. He says, I felt like I knew where I was at, that I had terrain awareness, but I didn't. He said his map and compass were back in his car at the trailhead.
Oh, boy.
There was no cell service. He couldn't call his wife. He found himself on a steep slope. He concocted a makeshift shelter for the night. Although he didn't sleep, at first light that Friday morning, he was greeted with snow. He realized he was in the area of, ironically, Deception Creek.
Great. Oh.
Because probably whoever named that was in the same position he was in originally.
Here's a dun dun
right.
dun. Yeah.
At least he knew he was well off track. Oh, man. He said, I was responsible for my own path to get out. That motivated me to say, I've got to do this myself. There you go, man.
Wow.
Eventually came across a rock ledge with 2 large logs long enough to lead him down into a ravine to the creek where he could finally get some water. That began leading himself carefully down one of the logs when he lost his balance and fell. His head bounced off the second log and he landed on his fishing pole, which was attached to his belt, and his reel slammed into his hip. Insult injury. That sounds awful.
Ugh.
He said, now I'm on the bigger log trying to get my sense. I've got blood dripping. In an instant, everything became very serious. This was no longer a hike. I had to be mindful, stay focused on the moment. You know you did everything wrong, but at that point, you can't knock yourself down. You have to stay focused and do something. Do it your best and don't expect more.
How old's this guy again?
I can tell you.
Because anything above 60, this is now.
He's 69, so that was last May.
That's an amazing.
69.
Okay, so that's awesome. 69, right. This is guy's doing this stuff, right? I'm impressed, right?
Right. So eventually, his wife, Stacy, called the sheriff's office to report that her husband was missing. She received a return call from Deputy Dave Ward, who works with the county search and rescue team. There you go.
Look at that.
Her communication with the Deputy Ward would prove to become a source of peace. That deputy was a godsend for me, she said. He called every day. It would get hard, but every morning would be a new day. I had hope. When I have information, it makes me feel better. Getting that information from the deputy was what got me through. Her husband, meanwhile, though, was lost in difficult terrain with a skewed sense of direction. And Stacy relied on those calls from the deputy for support.
Aww.
And also from the community to keep hope alive. I guess there was an online community that kind of helped her get through a lot of it. Back to Harry, he had to do a lot of improvising. He reached the confluence of Twin and Calf Creeks and decided to find shelter there. After all, while he had not eaten in 4 days, at least he had some water.
Wow.
Under a low cover of Douglas fir limbs, he was able to build a shelter to minimize the elements, which included low overnight temperatures and a threat of inclement weather. Like we said, he didn't have a beanie, so he didn't have anything to keep his head warm. So he had to get creative. He said, I thought to myself, what do you need underwear for? Just go commando.
Hey.
So he removed his underwear, sewed one leg shut, and suddenly had a head covering proper enough to help minimize the loss of body heat escaping through his head. It took a couple of days to assimilate it to the natural forest smells. He said with a wry grin, but it kept my head warm.
Wow.
The next day, Harry was working his way up another steep slope when he heard the sound of an airplane. He found an opening in the timber, began waving as the plane passed over by, but of course the pilot didn't see him.
Painful.
It had been about a week since Harry had eaten and at least a week since he had a fire. He was getting proficient at literally rubbing 2 sticks together, and he said that the sticks would get too hot to touch. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to spark the tinder for the fire. Then he remembered a 40-year-old gift that he had forgotten he had. About 40 years ago, my father-in-law gave me a gift, and he said, here, put this in your wallet. You might need it someday.
No way.
That gift was a plastic magnifying glass. And Harry said that every time he got out a new wallet, that the plastic magnifying glass would always be in there with him. He was finally able to combine the direct sunlight and that magnifying glass to create enough heat to start a fire. The problem was that the wood he had gathered...
Too wet.
Right, too wet. He attempted to use moss to try to create smoke, which might be seen from overhead. The smoke would dissipate before I had a chance to reach the canopy. At that point, he said, I wasn't thinking very clearly. No wood, no fire, no smoke, no food. Eventually, he got to high enough grounds to where he created with logs. He created a marker. He wrote help and SOS. He said, my tongue was so dried out, my peripheral vision was starting to go. I got some shade, but I wasn't recuperating. He said, I finally reached my last resort. He said, I read about it. I've seen it in the movies. I decided to drink my own urine. A short-term hydration solution, but he still needed fresh water. Yeah. And the water was at the bottom of the ravines, while his chance was to be spotted was on the top of the ridge.
Makes sense.
He was growing exhausted.
Wow.
At last, hope.
Okay.
Day 10 of the search operation, Harry Burleigh's original camp, the one near the confluence of Twin and Calf Creeks, had been found. They left some supplies, a lighter, to start a fire, and left a note that said, "We'll be back tomorrow to get you." Harry was on day 12 and things were beginning to unravel further. He abandoned his outpost on the ridge to try to follow a creek that he believed would lead him to Twin Lakes, ultimately to the same 1.25-mile trail out of the wilderness. When he came to a sheer rock wall along a waterfall, he then said he was memorized. He saw a possible path to the top, but knew it was going to be difficult for the 69-year-old man. I took a couple pretty serious tumbles, but he managed to get about halfway up, and my sandal disintegrated. It was just hanging by the ankle strap, and I twisted my ankle. I was stabbed by a branch in my other foot, and I couldn't do anything about it. I had to get to the top.
Dude.
He made it to the top to hear the sound of a Coast Guard search and rescue helicopter dispatched from North Bend. Harry raced as best he could get to the clearing where the crew of the helicopter could see him, but he got there moments too late.
Oh.
I blessed him, he said of the pilot. He was just doing the best job he could. Finally, on May 23rd, 17 days after, Harry was rescued. He was mentally and physically drained, his body beaten up, his mind wandering. That morning, he hears a bellow through the woods. It's a human. Shows up and he helps me sit down. He recalled when he engaged one of the first rescuers. Another search and rescue team member told him so that he could relax while the first man put fresh socks on Harry.
Oh.
A third rescue presented Harry with a bottle of Gatorade blue raspberry flavor.
Yeah.
He said that was God's own stash of honey. Let's see. The fourth searcher in the group asked what he'd been eating for 17 days. And he said his menu basically consisted of millipedes, termites, anything that he can catch, the occasional scorpion, crawfish, and a big snail.
Wild.
Eventually, more than 100 volunteers assisted in the search for Burleigh in the Calf Creek area, ranging from the trained mountain rescuers and ground searchers, canines, to the eye in the sky, plane and helicopter.
Wow.
The search began on May 9th, which based out of Lower Twin Lakes trailhead. He was very thankful to have been found. One of the searchers, if anybody wants a hug, Mr. Burleigh is handing them out for free, they said.
Wow.
He was down to 152 pounds.
Dang.
Yes. Let's see. There was still, of course, afterwards, a lot of, nerve damage and pain in his feet.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
He said, I left that mountaintop with something I didn't have before. My body was beaten beyond what it could give. He said, my mind was stretched beyond what I can do. My life spark, that loving energy that we have inside all of us, was filled.
Wow.
Wow. That is one heck of a story. And that is from our good friends at the Register Guard.
Love it.
And that was from last May.
That's so wild.
Right?
Man. I mean, the tenacity of it.
My gosh.
So I looked up. Just crazy. I love the details. That just, man.
I think your mind goes first before the physical.
Oh, that'd be me. Yeah. I'd hear things. I'd see things. Yeah. You'd find me up a tree.
I mean, I would. Bigfoot.
Yeah, I hear all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Coyotes.
Eating a scorpion. Like, no, that's fine.
Right. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
Man. And just being so close to starting a fire, but everything is just kind of wet, and even the moss, you can't even start a fire with it. And
so I looked up Douglas County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue.
Yeah.
So the Search and Rescue is responsible for all search and rescue activities in Douglas County. And it's defined, its law is acts of searching for, rescuing, and recovering by means of ground or marine activity any person who is lost, injured, or killed while outdoors. Get this, there's different types of teams that you can apply for. Okay. There's the communications team. This unit assists with communication between searchers in the field and search management teams at the command post. There's the mounted search and rescue. This is equestrian unit open. You can apply. You can anyone 21 years or older. I mean, all these are different teams you could be on. Must have access or means to transport horses. There's a Douglas County Ground Search and Rescue. This is the bulk of it. And these people are usually on the other teams as well. But this is the vast majority of members, and many of these members are also involved in other groups, along with search and rescue missions on the ground. This group also supports the sheriff when called upon to assist with emergency evacuations, traffic control at large events, and other tasks as necessary. There's a 4x4 search and rescue, containment search capability, which means the team will be deployed on roads around the area where a subject is reported missing. The team will also function as a transportation unit, providing equipment operators and vehicles to operate special vehicles such as ATVs and to transport searchers. Douglas County Snowcat. This team have extensive training involving snow rescues. The Snowcat team works in conjunction with the 4x4 teams and mountain rescue teams. There's an amateur radio emergency services. Is a group of amateur radio operators willing to assist search and rescue, emergency management, and other agencies. They're also part of the American Radio Relay League. That's amazing. Douglas County Sheriff's Office dive team. So it's underwater scuba rescue team. There's a canine search and rescue team. There's an unmanned aerial vehicle, so using drones. There's a logistics team, mountain rescue team, and just a straight up tracking team. But yeah, if you go to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office website, search and rescue, SAR, there's a training academy, there's the application, and they even have, and it's going to lead into our next part here, on the website, they have something called the Hike Safe website link, which gives you the most up-to-date information on outdoor conditions and that kind of stuff, where to go, just all the different things that you would need for Douglas County hiking. Now, speaking of that, Elle, we got a little list compiled here of tips.
Yes. Some of these, well, Mark and I are not experts. We're just gonna put that out there. So please don't take any of this. Don't quote us.
For the record, we both read articles. We both try to compile stuff.
Right.
So this is the best list we can compile from all of our sources.
Yes. Number 10. Leaves of 3. Let it be. Poison ivy and poison oak are not meant to be toilet paper.
So leaves of 3. So that means they're always in groups of 3.
So the saying is leaves of 3, let it be.
Wow.
Okay. And if you got to go to the bathroom out there, Harry Burley, my man, I hope you learned this. Leaves of 3, let it be. Don't use poison ivy and oak. They're not meant for toilet paper. You're going to be walking out with a lot more problems.
Now, Harry did have a fishing pole, so that this is a help number. This next one here is don't try to fish in rivers with your hands. You'll just end up looking stupid doing it. Unless you're a bear, you're not going to catch anything.
You're not Grizzly Adams. You're not catching fish with your hands. Don't do it. Number 8. This goes without saying. Bears are not your friends. Don't try to take pictures with them. Don't try to hug them. Okay. Don't try to get a
high five,
a selfie with them. Yeah. Okay. If you see a bear,
they are celebrities of the forest, but they're not the celebrities you can approach. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
If you see a striped cat in the wild, word of advice: don't try and pet it.
Yeah.
I think any cat, if it's in the wild and it's a certain size, just probably leave it alone.
Yeah. Exactly. House cats.
Yep.
Leave them alone. Honey is sticky. Leave it at home with your other snacks.
I wonder if that attracts bears too. Can you imagine a bear and you're like, I smell honey.
Yeah.
This is great.
Goes back with the bear one.
Pine cones don't taste good.
Yes.
Yeah. Not good.
Last resort.
Little fibrous, but I'll tell you, the fiber's there. But
Number 4, squirrels are cute except when they have rabies. You guys know the signs of rabies. I don't know what they are, but know what they are. Okay? Any animal with rabies, I would think it's probably a good tip to stay away from them. Yeah.
And they will not announce that they have rabies.
No.
Full disclosure, I read that sentence differently. I said squirrels are cute except when they have babies. And I thought this was like, don't approach a wild animal when it's got its young. And I'm like, that's good advice too,
that's
right?
4A. Yeah.
If they have rabies or babies, stay away.
Right. All right. Don't pick up hungry hitchhikers. Don't pick up hitchhikers that look hungry. Don't pick up hitchhikers that have signs that say, I'm hungry.
Yeah. I was going to say, how do you know they're hungry?
It's a trick.
Wait.
Their stomach's growling.
Should the rule be don't pick up hitchhikers?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the funny part. Part of me, I'm almost people like, I want to be kind. But the trust is not there anymore with hitchhikers.
No, it's not. I've seen one too many movie and documentaries about picking up hitchhikers gone wrong.
Yeah. What did you do in your life to where you can't have a vehicle and transportation that you trust on your own? So now you're relying on the kindness of strangers, and then you're in a weird spot.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I have a general rule of thumb. I just don't trust anyone.
it's good policy.
Yeah.
It's safety, right?
That's what it is for me.
If you see a dead body, poke it with a stick.
Don't poke it.
Oh, don't poke it with it. I say poke it because you got to make sure it's dead. You got to call the police. It just makes sense. If you see a dead body, call the police.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just go. I hope that's, let people know.
There we go.
Someone's looking for that person.
And number 1, this is actually from my wife. Don't leave home wearing flip-flops. And pack plenty of water. There's your
Good
tips.
advice. There's one funny one I picked up too is socks. And you mentioned it on that, from your story there, is wool socks.
Yes, I got a good pair of wool socks.
You have to have wool socks. They said cotton do not hold up and they're not good for your feet.
Yeah.
Wool socks keep it warm and they keep it insulated and are softer and better for your feet.
I love a good pair of wool socks.
I don't think I own a pair of wool. I have to go find a pair of wool socks. They said, number 1, wool socks.
Yep.
Now, okay, the other thing, guys, this is a funny one too, is I came across a list of the things you should pack with you when you go hiking, okay?
Perfect.
You have to have and I have a disclaimer about this because this list upset me. Number 1 is you need to take a lightweight coat.
Okay. Lightweight?
Lightweight coat. Because if it gets...
Like a windbreaker?
Like a windbreaker, exactly. Because the temperature changes, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So take a lightweight coat, okay? And the reason why is you don't want to take a heavy coat because it's too heavy to carry. But anyways, no matter what, apparently in the middle of summer, because if you get stuck overnight, temperatures drop, you want a lightweight coat.
Okay.
Saying they want you to take a first aid kit. Once again, you don't know what's going to happen. Fire starter, like stick or like a...
Magnifying glass.
Yeah, magnifying glass. Yeah, anything to use to start a fire.
Matches, lighter. Yeah.
They said high density snacks, like a good Cliff Bar, something like that.
What about jerky? Does that count as high density?
I think jerky would be pretty good because it's got the protein. It's got can keep you energy.
What about breakfast burritos?
I would take a breakfast burrito.
The
problem, what I would pack would be contradictory. Like my pack would be gummy bears,
some
breakfast burrito,
donuts,
a taco, some donuts. If they found me, they'd be like, of course, I'd be like 8 miles. I'd be like 20 feet down the trail. Half my food's gone.
The wrappers everywhere.
Just doesn't.
How did we not see you from the sky with all that?
Right. I'd be found because of the reflection off the energy can or the energy soda can. Mountain. That guy's a monster energy drink right there.
Did he just get lost in the woods so he can just eat by himself?
That's what it was. I just didn't want to be judged anymore.
Right. And honey, I'm going to the store.
And then I'm going on a hike.
Yeah.
And then the grocery list is gone. And of course, the other thing, they want you to take either a water bottle or a kit or something so you can purify water as you go along. And here's the deal with all this stuff. I get it, but it depends on how long you're going for a hike for. Yeah, this is like 20 pounds of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's the point of that? I mean,
like a Brita filter?
There's apparently you can get these things that you strap on your body that look like they look like little pouches that you can it'll soak up the water from like a stream and purify it and then you can drink out of it. But the best part is the cost of some of this stuff, like some of the fire starters, some of the water purifying kit. It gets up there, right? If you get a good quality lightweight coat, Yeah. I wonder if Harry's story is so funny because he told that his one sandal broke. I'm like, don't ask the manufacturer's name because I bet they're a little embarrassed, right?
Right.
Oh, we couldn't survive 14 days in the wilderness.
Exactly.
Now, if he did make it all the way back with those sandals intact, then that company's like, hey, we got advertisement here.
Right. Good PR.
Good PR. But anyways, just pack everything you own from your house before you go hiking so you don't know what you're going to need.
The 7 Ps.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to go for a book I read. I got this book. I was excited to read this book so that we can cover it in the podcast. I'm not going to name the book, and I'm not going to name the author because I don't. This book was not fun read. It's about trying to read nature signs if you're going to go outdoors at all, right?
Yeah.
Now, this book, when I say it was a hard read, it's just the logic wasn't there for me on a lot of this stuff. So, for instance, here's an example. Now, when you go into a hike, what do you think? You're going, where do you go for a hike?
Where do I go?
Yeah, where would you go for a hike?
Well, I go on a trail that's usually not very long. It's got pointed signs.
Okay.
It's got, it's got good trails. I'm not trying to go off trail here, you know.
But it's in the wilderness, right?
Yeah.
You're at least going,
Yeah.
So this guy's first of advice, just so you know, this is chapter 2. Okay. One of the things he does, he goes, you got to make a list of landscape features to make sure for markers, right?
Okay.
Here's his list of landscape features in a hike.
Okay.
A farm building.
A farm building?
A distant radio mast.
A what?
A distant radio mast, so like a radio tower. Towering smoke from a fire.
What if there's no fire?
The edge of a town, a road, or a wall. So as you can tell, none of these, everything he listed was a man-made feature. Dude, if you're going for a hike, bro, You're going to go where
so
there's
he's hiking down to town. That's where he's going to. He's going to the local pub.
He's not going to get lost on this hike. If you're seeing a man-made feature, you're not on a hike at that point.
No.
Some of this other advice.
I'm doing like a tree or like
right. The other piece of advice he gave was, let's say you're disoriented and you wake up on the side of a mountain, which, by the way, happens to everyone, right? You're disoriented, you wake up, boom, you're on the side of a mountain, don't know how you got there. He said he gives this really amazing 8-page detail about how to determine that if you're on the left side or the right side of the mountain, because I guess like where the more sun is on one side of the mountain, that's where the trees grow taller.
Okay. Yeah.
So he said, he goes, if you're not sure which side the sun's on, he does this 8-page detail of like, oh yeah, there's where the trees are taller. It goes, if the sun's on that side of the mountain, that's, it's not going to be there as much. I'm thinking, then you can just look at the sun and see where it's at.
Right.
He's using the sun to determine where it's at right. by looking at the ground instead of just literally looking up.
Right. I'm starting to think this is more of a story of somebody who had a little too much to drink and how to find your way back home.
So the part that killed me, there's a part where I had to, he talked about how you can use the stars as a guide, right?
Okay, sure.
And I've heard this for years. Like mariners use this. It makes perfect sense. But he says, there's a way you can make a clock out of the night sky. Okay. And here's how you make a clock out of the night sky. You ready for this?
No, I'm not ready.
You find the Big Dipper. Okay. So the Big Dipper, boom, makes a little dip. And so the last edge of the Big Dipper, okay, that makes the pan, that's got 2 stars. They connect. You can actually follow those to the North Star.
Yeah.
Okay. So get this, makes a whole straight line with the North Star. Awesome. I'm on board, right?
Right.
3 stars connected. We got a straight line.
Boom.
He says, but then this is where it gets me. He goes, you make a circle and that line becomes the hour hand of a clock that works 3 hours backwards.
What? So it's New York time?
Okay. So, right. But then here's the examples he gives. So he says, for instance, as an example, if you're looking at the clock in the night sky, he goes, if the clock says it's 4 p.m., it's technically 1 p.m. If it shows that it's 11 a.m., it's technically 8 a.m. I go, buddy, you gave 2 examples where during broad daylight, I would not see the Big Dipper. He's using stuff in the stars that aren't there during the daylight. This book, I'm telling you, I was reading this. I had to Googled it to make sure it wasn't like supposed to be a joke or anything.
But how is that? How is the time reference this star?
It's right. And you can't use it during the day. You can't use stars. I mean, once again, the sun's out. I can tell where the sun's at in the sky.
Right.
Anyways, be careful what books you read, people.
Be careful.
I'm not going to, it was, like I said, I'm not going to name the author's name. I'm not going to name the book. Yeah. I'm just going to give the points to where I had some hard times with it.
Thank you, Mark, for that good book review.
You're welcome. There's Mark's book corner. All right. What's next?
What else do we want to talk about? Okay. I got some quick facts about a tree and some pumpkins.
Love it.
Because why not, right?
Why not?
A large number of trees are grown on the Pacific Northwest. Okay. And some of those you can find in Olympic National Park, which is up in Washington.
Yeah.
They also call it the Valley of the Rainforest Giants.
I love it.
Another name for the Quinault Valley. There's this verdant, moss and fern covered valley is believed to be home to the planet's highest number of record-sized giant tree species in the smallest recorded area, and boasts some of the largest trees outside of California and New Zealand. Because I think like the redwood forest, that's usually what I think is like the largest trees, right?
Yeah.
The world's largest Sitka spruce tree, a Bayamouth, has a soaring 191 feet tall. In general, Sitka spruce heights range from about 125 to 180.
Wow.
And this one is estimated to be more than 1,000 years old.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's love
cool.
that.
That's cool. Switching gears to pumpkins.
Yes.
This is the world's heaviest pumpkin, weighing in at 2,702 pounds. 2,702 pounds. It was grown by somebody in Italy. His name was Stefano Catruppi.
Oh, I love it.
Said that perfectly.
Stefano.
From Rada in Chianti, Tuscany, Italy. Mike, that's on the bucket list to go, by the way.
Yeah.
Tuscany, Italy.
Oh, absolutely.
Please take me there.
Yeah.
It was said ratified by the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth because what the heck is a Great Pumpkin Commonwealth?
So the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth.
What is that? It was weighed at the 10th Capiano della Zucchini Pumpkin Festival held in Pecoli, Italy. I said all those words.
You nailed it. I think
perfectly.
You nailed it. Yeah.
On September 26th, 2021, the giant gourd had a width of 11 feet 8 inches, and the circumference was 17 feet 9 inches. It also is the largest size ever recorded in competition. So that's our good friend in Italy there.
That's amazing.
Which takes us here to the good old United States of America.
Okay.
October 28th, so a couple days ago, yesterday, a Minnesota gardener by the name of Travis Geigner.
Yeah.
He grew a pumpkin that weighed 2,560 pounds, the largest in U.S. history. So what did he decide to do with it? He's going to carve it into a jack-o'-lantern. He's going to try to break the Guinness Book of World Record of having the world's largest jack-o'-lantern. And guess what he's named this pumpkin? He dubbed it Maverick in honor of Tom Cruise's character from Top Gun.
Respected, I guess, right? Yeah.
So he decided he was going to carve it. The pumpkin is being carved into an image of an eagle at the town hall where this guy lives in Anoka, Minnesota. He said, this is going to bring the recognition to growing giant pumpkins, which brings recognition to Halloween, which he told this station KMSP-TV in Anoka, Minnesota. So
I had to look
my
this
man
up.
is growing. Do you see the picture?
So
it's amazing. The eagle that he carved.
Wild.
I can barely carve just a regular pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern. This dude is carving a giant eagle and some 2,000 pound. What handsaw are you using?
No kidding. The time it takes. What's this guy's job
do
for a
you
living?
have to like gut it out first? Like, do you have to get like a backhoe and like just gut out like the seed? And then how much seeds left over?
Oh, I bet it's made some great pumpkin seeds.
That's what I'm saying.
So when you said the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth, I instantly thought that's something I need to be aligned with. And I thought in my head, like, I wonder if they call themselves the JPC or the JPTCW, because they got to have an acronym. The internet gods provided. So the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth, the JPC mission cultivates the hobby of growing giant pumpkins throughout the world by establishing standards and regulations that ensure quality, fairness of competition, recognition of achievement, fellowship, and education for all participating growers and way-off sites. You can register to be a way-off site.
A way-off site?
A way-off site. So you could actually be like, hey, this is where they're going to, you have to have enough room and accommodations for,
you got to have permits.
You got permits. Yeah. You can't just weigh pumpkins. That's crazy. The next convention is in Danvers, Massachusetts. It's March 3rd to the 5th of 2023. Been a little save the date if you want to go. It's on the website there. Pumpkins 101, how to review pumpkins presentation if you want to watch that.
Slideshow must be amazing.
The best part is the pictures of the members.
I can only imagine the amount of pumpkin spice latte that's been drinking.
And then the best part is the controversy of tomato way off.
Yes.
It's a controversial item because, tomato, does it classify as in the neighborhood of a pumpkin? I mean, there's so many. No, it's not.
No. It's not a gourd.
It's not a I agree. I completely agree with this. I'm never going to put a pumpkin on a hamburger like I would a tomato.
Exactly.
So,
Do you like pumpkin seeds?
I do like pumpkin seeds.
You like pumpkin spice? Are you a pumpkin flavored thing? I can't remember. You like pumpkin bread?
So
pumpkin
this is going to lead into our question of favorite fall drink.
Oh, well, okay. Hold on.
Okay.
There.
So let's go. So we ready for 2 questions?
Sure. I can't think of anything good for the headstone, so you go first.
Okay. So favorite fall drink.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a sucker. I'm the basic white girl where it's the pumpkin spice lattes.
That's mine too. It's okay.
I just, that flavor, the fall flavor on that.
Right.
And I know for a fact it's not really pumpkin. It's more the nutmeg and the cinnamon.
It's just some sprinkle on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But dang it,
it's
if it
good
doesn't
though.
Get me the season, right?
It's good. And I've tried like pumpkin flavored beer. Not good. It's not good. It's not. And there's some breweries like Sam Adams, I think another one tries to do it. It's not good. And the pumpkin spice latte. I have a $5 Starbucks gift card. Mm-hmm. I am saving for the right moment.
Absolutely.
I'm saving for the right Friday morning. I'm just going to go down to Starbucks, get myself. It's got to be like below 50 degrees outside.
Yeah, blistering.
I'm putting my wool socks on, and I'm going down and getting myself a pumpkin
Power
spice
might
latte.
go out. Might have to read a book. I'm telling you, the setup's perfect. The prices have gone up on pumpkin spice lattes. So $5 might get you a small one now. Oh, I don't.
Don't say that.
Inflation. Starbucks jumped right on board. Oh,
I was hoping to get a grande for like $4.50 and call it good.
No. I mean, plus in the tip expectation these days.
No, tipping.
Yeah.
Here's a tip.
There's a tip.
Lower your prices.
Oh.
All right.
So is that your favorite fall drink too?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a good
That's
one.
it.
So the other one we're going to do, kind of the theme of Halloween, what do you want on your tombstone?
Yeah, headstone, tombstone.
Yeah.
I was going to say, here lies Eliav. This is how this day is going to go.
I think that's amazing.
Because there's a joke in my house where like a couple years ago, it was like Christmas or something. It was on vacation and I got mad over something. I yelled, this is how this week's going to go. And my family just doesn't let me live it down.
Yeah.
So you know what? My last words or whatever, put on my headstone. This is how this day is going to go. That's what I'm doing.
I love it because it's both like a living and a foreshadowing thing.
Right.
So on the same note, mine was going to be the one I shared with you the other day.
Yes.
Because usually at work, we're on these things with the Teams meetings. And if you're the first one into the Teams meeting, it's got, of course, your picture. But it says, waiting for others to join.
That's so good.
And I'm like, that's exactly what it is. Because that's
waiting for others to join.
Waiting for others to join.
Perfect.
Or am I waiting for other people to join me wherever I'm at? But yeah, so just waiting for others to join. It's friendly. It's a little morbid.
It's friendly.
I love it.
All right. So I found some scary stuff. This is what it's called. Not scary, but
okay.
Some scary dad jokes.
Yes. And I have one joke too.
Do it first.
Okay, I'll go first. Why don't monsters eat ghosts?
Why don't monsters eat ghosts? I don't know.
Because they taste like sheet.
Dang it, that's good.
Thank you. Got it from a little kid.
Perfect.
Stole it like I owned it.
Perfect. All right. What do you call the ghost of a chicken?
Hold on here. I want to get this one. Okay, so I'm thinking of I got nothing.
A poultrygeist.
A poultrygeist. Gosh,
Oh
I love
man.
it. That's excellent.
What is the hardest part about skydiving?
Oh no. The landing?
The ground.
The ground. Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
How does a French skeleton say hello?
I got nothing.
Bonjour.
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 I knew it was going to be bone related. I just couldn't get there. I thought inappropriately.
Why are skeletons so calm?
They don't have skin in the game?
Because nothing gets under their skin.
Okay. I was in the neighborhood.
All right. Apparently we got all skeletons. We'll do another one.
All skeleton
Right?
jokes. Oh man.
What do snails become when they die?
I don't know. Escargots.
All right, one more here.
Wow. That was hard.
How can you tell a vampire has a cold?
I don't know.
They start coughing.
I actually like that one. I love that one.
Oh, man.
All right.
Wow, that
Guys,
was such a potpourri smorgasbord of an episode.
That's a classic. That's a classic Organ Files
great-
podcast.
great
We gave you some advice. May
great
not be good.
episode.
We went over some stories. May not be accurate. Gave you some facts. You got to look some stuff up. And now you know about the great Pumpkin Commonwealth.
All right.
All right. You can find us on YouTube and where else, Elliot?
Yes. Anywhere where you can get your podcast. I have a link on our Instagram page that takes you right to all the directories that you can listen to the episode. If you want to get a hold of the show, email OregonFilesPodcast@yahoo.com. And if you are an outdoorsman, if you are an avid person that knows what you're doing out there, please just email us. We would love to have you on and actually give good advice. Not
yes.
We
want to interview an expert.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're part of the Douglas County Search and Rescue, that would be interesting to hear what the training was like.
Exactly.
And any stories you could tell us.
Yes.
If you found Bigfoot out there.
Yes. And thank you again for everyone that's listening and everyone that just tells everyone about the podcast and everything.
3,000 downloads now?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much. And happy fall, everyone.
Thank you.